So you bought a car as is. What exactly does that mean? Well, we get this question a lot and it bears repeating. As is means that there are no guarantees. You buy the car in the condition it's in, but that doesn't give the seller a license to cheat you by covering things up. They can't knowingly cover something up. Like, let's say you have a bad transmission and they put some gook in there to try to silence it so you don't hear it. Or they do something to jury rig the car so it runs a little and then says as is, but they know there's a serious problem lurking. You can probably go back and get recourse on that. But let's just say there are defects or it's just a bad car. That they're not responsible for. So as is has some limitations. For example, they can't lie to you and say, hey, this has a new engine or it's a great car, when in reality it's not. So even though it's as is, you can get them on that. It's important that you take notes on everything that they tell you. And if it's important, have them put it in writing, like it's a rebuilt engine. Even though it's as is, it's a rebuilt engine. Then if it turns out it's not a rebuilt engine, you can do something about it, even though it's as is. Now, there's another thing about as is. It must be as represented. For example, it must be a car if they're selling a car. You buy it as is, but what if the car doesn't have an engine in it or it doesn't have an interior in it, and it turns out that the guy says, well, it was meant to be a sculpture? That's a little weird. So as is means as represented. For example, one time, these people bought a TV and it was filled with rocks. There was no innards in it. And the guy said, well, use it as a piece of art. Nah, that's not what as is means. So be careful when you buy anything as is and do your homework. I'm Tom Martino.